Keisha King actually tweeted about this about a week ago before the publication of this op-ed. I think we have that. We do. Look at that. It's almost as if I told the producers before the show that I wanted that tweet to be on air. She said, if everything, it's almost like that. If everything is racist, then nothing is racist. And when you claim everything is racist, it takes away from actual racism. She was obviously, based on the hashtag, she was tweeting about the date. She was tweeting about the Super Bowl and the number of anti-racist statements, anti-racism statements that were made during that. And there's nothing wrong with that, I suppose, except that it tends to continue this lie that the left is so enamored with that America is a racist country founded on racist ideals. And again, if your whole career is based on ending racism, then of course you want race. The bigger a boogeyman racism is, the more of a hero you are for fighting against it. Which leads me to my pragmatic question of the day: is there some sort of practical way for conservatives on the right to win American hearts and minds on this issue? And if so, what does that look like? What does that debate look like from our side?
Well, so I would argue kind of just what I said earlier. We need to remain focused on equality, and we need to define it, and we need to make sure that people understand the difference between equality and equity and what that means. I want to say, I think PragerU has put out a great video on what that exactly means. I know a couple other conservatives, Ben Shapiro, Tucker Carlson, they've talked about this in depth. So there are those videos out there, and I know that we've put out articles too, so go check them out at westernjournal.com. People need to understand that. We need to make sure that we're getting that message out as much as possible. This isn't an issue that we can just put one article out and be like, okay, we did our part, we're done, no more. No, this is something that we are going to have to fight the long haul on, because Democrats have been, again, obsessed with this issue for over 100 years. And we've been fighting them. I mean, the GOP, the conservative movement, we are the party of Lincoln. No, in no way associated with the Lincoln Project. We are the party of Lincoln, literally established to destroy slavery.
Yes.
We have been fighting tooth and nail against leftists and the Democrat Party for over 100 years on this issue, and we need to keep fighting that good fight, because if we don't, we will lose. And we can't lose.
Michael, I feel like you, and correct me if I'm wrong, didn't you write something a while back when that language shifted, when the Biden administration started talking about equity rather than equality? Didn't you kind of do an explainer piece on that?
I did, yeah.
Okay. So westernjournal.com, go find Michael Austin on our authors page and look that up. You don't remember the title of that, do you?
Just search equity, and you'll find quite a few from different people, including me, explaining the difference. And
his will be better, though. His is going to be better. So all those other ones, you can just delete those. I wouldn't waste my time. Honestly wouldn't waste my time. Just read Michael's.
But I agree with you, Jonah, that it is a messaging issue. And conservatives are at a huge disadvantage with messaging for a few different reasons. First off, if you look at the personality differences between conservatives and liberals, the more creative people are always liberal.
Yep.
Well, not always. Hopefully we're kind of
the
creative.
balance. But the balance.
It's tilted in their favor.
Yes.
And second off, telling...
I wonder if that... I'm sorry to interrupt you, Michael. But I wonder if that's if there is a correlation there. Because creative people have to be able to look at reality and see something that isn't there in order to create it, right? I wonder if there's a connection between that and the ability to look at reality and deny what is there, right? Which is what we were just talking about. And so just makes me...
I mean, I'm a writer here. I think I'm pretty creative, and I definitely started out as a liberal. So
did Ronald Reagan,
I was tilted in that direction, perhaps naturally. But I learned better. But the second disadvantage we have with messaging is the fact that liberals get to work when it comes to equity. They get to work with this carefully crafted narrative that is perfectly designed to have all the answers you need. It answers every question you have. And when it comes to conservatives who want to tell the truth, that's not how the truth works. The truth does not
just is what it is.
It is what it is. And it can
That's
be
such a good point.
More often than not, it is incredibly hard to explain the truth in a way that like perfectly encapsulates all the relevant information. So when it comes to equality versus equity, it's so much easier for them to just come out with these clicky little catchphrases.
Yeah.
And it takes people like me, people on the right, it takes explainer pieces online to explain, okay, here's why that's really messed up though.
Yeah.
And yeah, the truth does not conform to any sort of easy way to tell itself. So we're at two huge disadvantages, and it's going to take us a lot more work to share our side than it takes them to just kind of spout out whatever narratives they want to share.
Because they've laid the groundwork.
Yes.
They've laid that groundwork.
Well, they've created their truth, and we have to work with what we have.
Which
And
is the actual
that's
truth.
The other part of that is that, the left's narratives, they're always going to be more appealing than ours.
Oh, sure, because they can change them to make them more appealing
Yeah.
whenever they need to.
Exactly.